All right, quarter 2, week 7, day 1, find the quotient. We have 4 over 7. This changes to a multiplication sign. The 6 over 1 becomes 1 over 6. Can we do any cross-reducing to kind of save us some time later to simplify? Well, there's nothing we can cross-reduce with the 7 and the 1. But with the 4 and the 6, we can divide 2 into it. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Now let's just multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 7 times 3 is 21. And there's nothing that divides into both 2 and 21, and it's not an improper fraction. So there's our answer, 2 over 21. Okay, now we need to find the difference, which means they're subtracting, and that's obvious because there's a subtraction sign right there. All right, so let's bring the decimal over so we can actually line them up. So we have 238.4. All right, so we'll go ahead and get rid of this. We'll just do the math over here. We can put a 0 in here because I know that that'll make people happy. I just like to have that space filled in there. All right, so let's go ahead and start. 4 minus 0 is 4. We can't take 4 away from 0, so we're going to have to borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 8 minus 8 is 0. 9 minus 3 is 6. 2 minus 2 is 0, and we have 7. Put the decimal there, move it over, put the comma. So our answer is 7,060.64, or 7,060 and 64 hundredths. All right, so that's the answer for that one. Find the missing number of each unit rate. Okay, there we go. We do have a 1 in it, so I guess we can consider that a unit rate. All right, so what does it take to get from 7 down to 1? Well, obviously you divide by itself. Divide the same number. 7 divided by 7 will give you 1. So you do 21 divided by 7, and that gives you 3. So that's the missing number of that unit rate, 1 to 3. All right, how about 8 down to 1? Well, once again, just divide by itself. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So what is 72 divided by 8? That is 9, right? Because 9 times 8 is 72. So the missing number for that one is 9. So that's all there is to those. And let's move on to the next one. How many millimeters are there in 2 kilometers? All right, so I went ahead and supplied you with this information. 1 million millimeters is 1 kilometer. Okay, so to get to 2 kilometers, shouldn't be too difficult, right? 1 times what number will give you 2? Yeah, times 2. So then, of course, we're going to do 1 million times 2, which, if you can do the good math on that one, is 2 million. Okay, that's all there is to that one. So 2 million millimeters is 2 kilometers. And there's your answer. What is the value of 8, and then in parentheses 2.3 plus x when x equals 7? All right, well, all we're going to do is plug in 7 for x. So let's just do it. We have 8, and then in parentheses 2.3 plus 7. All right, well, there's a couple different ways we can do this. I think I can do it in my head a lot easier if I just use distributive property. Okay, so 8 times 2 is 16, and 8 times 0.3, or 8 times 3 is 24, which would actually be 2.4. Okay, so if I added those together, that's 18.4. So I can have 18.4 for the first one, and then 8 times 7, well, we know 8 times 7 is 56. All right, so I distributed 8 times each one of these, and now all I have to do is add those together. So if I have 56 plus 18.4, that ends up being 74.4. And that's the answer. Okay, the other thing I could have done was just do 2.3 plus 7. So that would be 7 plus 2 is 9, right? So it would be 9.3 times 8. And if you did 9.3 times 8, you would also get to 74.4. There's two possible ways to solve this, but basically all you had to do was put in 7 in place of x and solve it that way. All right, write an equivalent expression for 3x plus 12 plus 7x plus x. And I have nice and big here, combine like terms. So if there are like terms, we can put them together, and that just means they're numbers that have the same variable beside it. Okay, so we have a 3x. Okay, are there other x's? Well, there's also a 7x, right? And then in addition to that 7x, we have another just 1x. So this is the tricky one on this one. So we have the 7x and we have an x. A lot of people will forget that one, but there's like an assumed 1 in front of here. Okay, so since there's an assumed 1 in front of that x, okay, then we have to add that one as well. So let's look at them. We have 3 plus 7. That's obviously 10. Plus 1 more is going to be an 11x. Okay, and then those are done with all of those. So the only thing left is plus 12. Okay, so now we have written an equivalent expression, and it's a lot easier. It's a lot simpler looking. It is 11x plus 12, and the way we did that was combining like terms. Okay, that's all we have to do for that one. What is the value of y? Circle the correct answer. All right, so all you really have to do is plug in 29 for y and see if that's 17, and then 26 for y and see if that's 17. Okay, but I'm going to actually kind of show you the algebraic way to solve this since we have this opportunity. All right, so what we want to get is y by itself. Okay, and the problem is it's a negative y. So we want to get a positive y. So what we're going to do is we're going to add y to both sides of this equation. All right, so if you take a positive y and a negative y, well, whatever y is, if it's 14, it's going to be a positive 14 and a negative 14. If it's 7, it's a positive 7 and a negative 7. So no matter what, it's going to end up just being 0. All right, so now we're left with 43 equals 17 plus y. And if you guys remember, we have to do the opposite operation to get the y, or the variable, by itself. So since this is addition, we are going to subtract 17 from both sides. Okay, and if we did that, we have a positive and a negative 17, which makes nothing, basically. So on this side is just y. And on the other side, we have 43 minus 17, which is 26. Okay, so basically we know that the answer is 26. So it's a little different than just kind of plugging it in and giving it a shot. Okay, but that is how you would do it. And there's a lot to it because we have a negative y. Okay, but I did want to show this to you just because it's something that's going to come up in your near future. So I wanted to give you kind of a quick run through on that. But that's how you solve that one. Let's go on to the next one. Jatanya sold N cups of lemonade at her stand for 75 cents each. She made a total of $18. Write an equation to express how many cups of lemonade she sold. Okay. All right, so we don't know how many cups she sold, but we know that she got $18 total. So we're going to put the 18 at the end there. All right, we know that she's selling each cup for 75 cents, so that'd be 0.75. And each one of them, or each cup is that much, so we're just going to put an N there. So we're going to put N times 0.75 equals 18. Well, that's pretty much it. That's all we have to do, because that's all they're asking us to find out. They don't really ask how many cups of lemonade. Write an equation to express. Okay, but we can actually solve that out, okay, because we know that we can do the opposite operation to solve for the variable. All right, so again, this is all we need. N times 0.75 equals 18. But how many cups did she actually sell? Well, This is multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication would be division. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 75 cents, basically. Okay, so 75 cents goes into 75 cents one time. Okay, so that just means there's one N left on this side over here. It's just 1 and an N, so 1N. And then on this side, you're just going to take 18 divided by 0.75, and that's going to give you 24. So, if we were asked to find out how many cups of lemonade they did sell, we could actually tell them that it was 24 cups. All right, so that's all for that one. Solve 4.8 plus n equals 6.2. Okay, so here's the 6.2. That's the total. So that's showing in this little diagram here the total distance. And then the 4.8, okay, that would be this much of it. And then there's another section that we don't have yet. So it's going to be 4.8 plus what will give you that. All right, so since I was just going through and showing you how to solve for variables, let's just go ahead and do it real quick for this one. We have 4.8 plus n Okay, we have 4.8 plus n is equal to 6.2. All right, so we have to get n by itself. We're going to do the opposite operation of what is happening here. So this is addition. What's the opposite of addition? Well, that is subtraction. We're going to subtract 4.8 from both sides. All right, so if we do that, we have a positive 4.8 and a negative 4.8. So that's going to end up at 0, right? If you take away the exact same amount that you have, you're at 0. So we have n equals. All right, so we have to kind of do this one here. 6, we're going to have to borrow. We have 12. So 12 minus 8 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So the answer is 1.4, right? Because we have to bring down the decimal. So the answer right here, n equals 1.4. Okay, and then you can double check that actually by just doing 4.8 plus 1.4. Eight plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. 6.2. Okay, so we know that that is the answer because we just put it right in here and solve for it, and we got the answer. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that problem, and we are finished with today's work.